Here is a picture of old Captain Smoker that I worked on for most of yesterday to bring to you folks. I hope you like it, and if you do, remember to follow me on the Twitter, the Instagram, and also the Facebook for more pictures like this one. One Piece, Chapter 100, The Legend Begins. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, and now here for 100 chapters, am Jim. Here to bring you another review on the timeless and epic tale of One Piece. Now, here we finished up with our last chapter. We finished up Volume 11 and are now diving into Volume 12. And I like this, too, because the setup of building the crew and everything else in that first 99 chapters, this one is entitled The Legend Begins. These things cannot be stopped. An inherited strength of will. One's dreams in the ebb and flow of the ages. As long as people hunger for freedom, these things will exist. This one is a little bit longer than regular, probably because of the fact that it's the first triple digits one, and it's about a 33-page chapter, I believe. And it actually starts out with the quote that was just read and a mysterious figure that we see, you know, and he kind of just like a pirate, eh? What a good idea. And then that's it, you know, and it takes us to the cover page. And then it goes and it takes us to the aftermath of, you know, the scaffold collapsing after the lightning hit Buggy's sword. And of course, Buggy, you know, looked like he was unconscious or out of it. So there's still chaos going on over there. Buggy gets up and, you know, somebody's like, whoa, Buggy, or Captain Buggy, you're alive? And he says, of course I'm alive, you idiot. Let's go get them, you know. So he goes and does this cool thing and says, you know, throw me the motor. And then he goes, chop, chop, car. And somebody tosses him basically what the equivalent is of like an axle with a couple of wheels and then an axle with a couple of wheels for the back that looks like it might have like a little go-kart motor on it. And he disassembles and then kind of reassembles his body like a transformer and is holding on to and his head sticking up. And it's basically, he's now like a car. It's like a go-kart. So he kind of gets going, and then Elvita goes and says, lay out the tracks, the ski slope, you know, and some of the pirates, yes, ma'am, and they, you know, pull out this, I guess, this roll of whatever they got, this slick sort of, you know, like a slip and slide, I guess is what you could equate it to, and she, of course, has the power of the slip fruit, and we see that comes not just with the beauty and the impervious skin not being able to be damaged. She then goes and kind of dives down and does this, you know, slip tracks, and she's skiing down. And it kind of reminds me of like Iceman from the old Super Friends cartoon, Iceman and Spider-Man, back when I was a kid a long time ago. It was a similar type of thing where she's kind of skiing on this thing. And then all of a sudden they start, you know, some smoke kind of comes around them, and, you know, and then somebody says, oh, what the and they're coughing, you know, and then it's white out. And the next thing you know, you see Captain Smoker, you see White Chase Smoker, and this is kind of cool because you see that he has the power of the plume fruit, right? And we knew that he was a devil fruit user, and well, sounds like a drug addict, but that's how they refer to him as. But he has the plume fruit, and what he's able to do, it looks like anyway, is, you know, able to manipulate and create out of smoke what appears to be like solid objects, because he pretty much just grabs them and wraps them and the entire crew up, and then they're able to fire this thing that Buggy refers to as a prison bullet, which basically negates the devil fruit powers, you know, of obviously the devil fruit users, and that goes over him and Elvita, and in one fell swoop, he just pretty much grabs them. So the only thing I can equate this power to is that he could create maybe like a hand or a baseball bat or whatever out of this smoke, and it kind of solidified enough to where he can hit and grab things and manipulate and use the smoke, you know, that maybe is fueled by his constant smoking of 2 cigars. It's like Wolverine times 2. He's always chomping on a couple of cigars. But it's actually pretty cool to see that, you know. So he then goes and says, get me my blower bike, you know, I have no time for this. So he goes and gets on this cool-looking 3-wheeled, you know, trike-type monstrosity that just looks pretty badass, some like an old G.I. Joe type vehicle, right? And he goes cruising the streets. It then goes and takes us over to and remember too, and the Buggy mentions something about, you know, oh, it doesn't matter, we'll go, you know, before they go and get captured, he's like, it doesn't matter anyway, because little do they realize that, you know, even though they got away, their ship is going to be burned, because if we remember, that was Moji and Richie's job, right? And we kind of were left in the last chapter with them being there at the boat, at the merry-go. So it takes us back to the boat at the merry-go, and they're basically, and you know, Moji's like, God, you know, this rain, this flash flood came, right, this big storm, and he's like, I know you can't light matches, you know, and the boat doesn't burn when it's soaked with water. But he's trying to, you know, go at it. And then all of a sudden, you know, Usopp goes and kind of whistles, and he's like, hey, you know. And as he turns, Nami just goes and whap, just blindsides him, right? She's like, I got him. Next thing you know, they're like, oh, shit, there's a lion. And Richie's just coming right for him, you know. Usopp goes and egg star. And he's like, oh, shit, I missed. Well, the nice thing is that you can count on animals always to go for food, because although it missed and it hit near him, he stops and Richie goes to kind of lick it up because he's like, oh, egg, right? And he still looks kind of funny with his braided hair and his little headlight on him that Moji was riding him like a motorcycle, you know? So anyway, Nami and Usopp are like, quick, you know, get past him, get past him, get on the boat. Then we go and we see Luffy, we see Zoro, and we see Sanji, and they're running through the streets, right? And they're being chased, of course, by the Marines. And and then somebody goes, I think Luffy's like, hey, should we stop and beat them up because they're being chased or whatever, you know? And then Sanji or Zoro, one of them says, no, we got no time, you know. Nami said we got to get to the boat. This storm is bad, right? And then as they go and they're running, they're kind of chucking, they're going at it. All of a sudden, Sergeant Tashigi goes and, you know, kind of cuts him off and stands in front of him. She's like, Roronoa, Zoro. And, you know, he's just like, whoa, you know. And she goes, you made a fool out of me, you know, because they had talked, of course, and had an extensive conversation and interactions. He didn't know that she was a Marine. She didn't know that he was the great pirate hunter, Roronoa Zoro. And also that he, of course, had joined up with Luffy and his crew. So she feels a little bit betrayed and is basically challenges him to a duel type of thing. You know, she's like, I'm gonna take Wado Ichimonji from you, you know, his sword. And he's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. You know, go ahead and try. So they start going at it, and, you know, there's all kinds of great clashing going on there. And he's like, Luffy, go on ahead. You know, so him and Sanji are going to run or whatever. And they're fighting, and we wind up seeing all of a sudden then, you know, Smoker, of course, appears, you know, and he's just like, Straw Hat Luffy, you know, and Luffy's like, who are you, you know? And he goes, I am Captain Smoker, you know, and basically I'm going to capture you, right? So then it goes back to Zoro and Tashigi, and Zoro basically easily just kind of goes and bests her, slams her up against the wall, and pretty much can run his sword right through her, you know? And he's just like, listen, I don't got time for this stuff, you know, I got to go. So he's going to leave, and she's like, what do you mean? What are you going easy on me because I'm a woman? And he kind of has flashbacks of the whole thing of Kuina and when they were younger and everything else. And it's like I said, it's kind of profound because I don't think that he's gonna, you know, he was gonna kill her anyway because there was really no need to. You know, she did get in his way, but you know, he bested her and got out of the way. But so she's yelling at him and she's like, "That's an insult," you know, and wanting to come after him. And then he goes and gets pissed off and he's just like, "Screw you! You look exactly like this girl, this childhood friend of mine," you know. And he's talking about Kuina. You even say some of the same things as her, you stupid copycat. And she's like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know this person. She's like, she's copying off of me. So he's like, so they kind of go into this funny exchange, you know, where they're bitching at each other. And it kind of looks like this goofy lovers quarrel, or, you know, or maybe just like you know, kids, like friends fighting, you know. And really rather comical. So anyway, then we go back to the you know, Smoker, of course, you know, and Smoker goes and he's going to grab Luffy, you know, and he grabs him and kind of wraps him up in some of his plume of smoke, you know, and it's all just kind of drawn real cool and everything, you know. I really hope everybody enjoys the drawing that I did make of Smoker at the beginning of the chapter, because I that's why we're getting this today and not yesterday, because I was working on it most of yesterday. But so then Sanji goes and comes in and he's just like, oh yeah, you scoundrel, and he's gonna nail him with a kick, right? And he kicks and there's nothing there. Smoker is able to also, it appears, you know, teleport or move quickly, you know, and use his smoke as cover, because he disappears and kind of reappears. Luffy goes and he's like, Gomu pistol, and he's, you know, and this thing goes out and he misses him, you know, because Smoker dodges or turns into smoke, or however his power works of the plume fruit. And then he goes and he grabs Luffy and he's just kind of like, you know, he's like, really, you're the bounty that's worth 30 million berries, you know? Then he kind of goes and just, you know, slams him to the ground, and he's holding his face down and everything, and he's ready to go, you know. And he goes and he pulls out his cool looking staff thing that, I don't know, it's like this bow staff, but it's got like a hook that comes out, almost like a nightstick. Really kind of cool looking. But so he goes to pull that bad boy out, you know, because maybe he's gonna knock Luffy out or whatever. And he's kind of like, end of the line for you, kid, you know. Your luck is run out, that sort of thing. And of course, Sanji's been hit, so, Zoro's still tied up at this moment. And then all of a sudden, the mysterious figure from the first page, from that quote that I had quoted from Gold Roger at the beginning, with the cool looking tattoo on his face, and he's got this cloak on, and he just looks like this badass, like assassin type deal. It's this big grim visage, and he's kind of rises up behind, he grabs, his thing. And he says, something to the effect of, this isn't going to happen, they're not going to... And he basically stops Smoker from doing it. Smoker's like, you! And, he recognizes him and knows who he is. And he goes and does this move, where he just goes, it's like this swirl wind or white out, whatever the hell this thing is that he does. I forget what move it is. But he goes and pretty much just knocks all the Navy, all the Marines, down the street out of the way, and then allows Luffy to go and get up and get out of there, and Zoro grabs him and he's like, come on, we gotta get to the boat, the storm is getting worse, and Sanji's like, that's what Nami's talking about. Everybody's getting blown away. I mean, there's this huge, hurricane, monsoon, whatever deal, right, that's going on. So they're running, nobody even kind of questions what happens with this figure. And then, and then Smoker goes and he says, he says to him, because like I said, he clearly knows this person, there's some interaction between them, and he's just kind of like, you're wanted and this and that, and then he's like, the world is waiting for your answer, and we don't know what this is all about, right? But what we do know is that this mysterious figure referred to as Dragon did help Monkey D. Luffy get away. So back to the ship, they are all ready to go and have cast off. They get there just in time and go and cast off towards the Grand Line. We then go and we see Captain Smoker saying, get the ship ready. We're going after the Straw Hats. And they're like, yeah, but that's, that's the Grand Line. That's outside of our territory. And he's like, no one will tell me what to do. You tell headquarters that. And then Tashigi says, I was, basically I was shamed by Zoro. I'm coming too. So they're going to be hot on their trail. And then we go and we see Buggy and his gang. And he's like, okay, great. Then we know where they're going. We might as well tag along too. And then he goes and he says, back to the Grand Line. So clearly he's been there before. The chapter wraps up shortly after that, showing everyone on the ship, on the merry-go. They're of course in a bad storm, a terrible storm, but they go and they see what appears to be a lighthouse in the distance, and Nami informs everybody that is the entrance into the Grand Line, into that sea, or that part of the sea. And they're basically like, let's get this boat on the water, And then they go and you get a one-shot panel of everybody, Luffy saying, I'm going to be king of the pirates. And Zoro saying, I'm going to be the greatest swordsman in the world, And Sanji saying, I'm going to find the All Blue. And Nami saying, I'm going to draw a map of the world. And then you get Usopp that, he basically just wants to have, fame and adventure, you know what I mean? He wants to be a great pirate, that sort of thing. And they kind of all go and put their feet in the middle and... just kind of do all right, hooray, we're going for the Grand Line. So finally, after 100 chapters, we are now entering, it appears, the Grand Line, and I'm certainly excited about that. That is going to be a ton of fun, and I'm just really, really thrilled for the adventures to come. So I am not going to be able to read the comments on this one, so I will not ask a major question. However, the one thing that I would like to ask is, those of you who have been with me on this journey since before I started putting up videos, to the ones that just got on board, in chapter 50, 60, 70, and saw what I was putting together and what I was doing, did you think I would make it this far, or did you think that I would give up? With the, obviously, once I got kind of balls deep into the task ahead of me and realized how big it was. So certainly leave your comments down below. I will unfortunately not be able to read them for quite some time probably, or I'll have to have somebody kind of proofread them for me and maybe let me know, hey, don't look at that, that's a spoiler. Everyone usually does a good job, though, of thumbs downing the comments that do contain spoilers, so by the time I get around to them, it just says this comment has received too many negative votes, and I don't read it because I assume that it's a spoiler then. So I appreciate everyone taking care of that. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you think I deserve it, and then, of course, subscribe if you have not done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.